Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli the Computer Guy here for the Daily Blob, where we say, is this good? Is this bad? I don't know, but I'm still gonna snark about it. So this is kind of interesting. This is one of those things where it's going to be good for some people and absolutely horrible for other people. Just kind of depends on where you are in the economy. So Amazon is bringing faster delivery to thousands of small towns and cities. So this is an interesting thing for me. As I've talked about before, I spent time growing up in West Virginia. My family is old school West Virginia. And let me tell you, back in the days with places like West Virginia, when you were in West Virginia, you were in West Virginia, right? If you wanted things like books, right, you could go to a Walden's Book, which was about 1,000 square foot bookstore. And basically, if the book was there, you got to buy it. If the book wasn't there, you didn't get to buy it, right? There wasn't internet back when I was a kid, movies and all that kind of stuff. The fact of the matter is there was a real difference in what you had access to from being in a small town to being in a major city, right? If you wanted any kind of culture, if you wanted any kind of entertainment, if you wanted a lot of that kind of stuff, you just needed to be in a larger city. And if you were in a small town, you got whatever was in that small town, and that's it. One of the things I find fascinating nowadays, especially having moved to Asheville, North Carolina from the Baltimore area, is just how much stuff is now available off the beaten path. Now, I mean, I am in a 90,000 person town, but not that long ago, that really didn't matter that much. But again, nowadays with internet connections, you can get any kind of information that you want. With Netflix, you can get any kind of movies, that kind of thing that you want. With Amazon, even if the local store doesn't have something, you can get things shipped in. And it's really changed the lived experience of being out in places that are not the major cities. Simply the ability to access things you could not access before. I think about this with meetups, right? How many meetups nowadays are entirely virtual, right? So if you were, I don't know, if you were on the 100% mushroom diet plan, right? Because people nowadays, they're very serious about their diets. And in your area, nobody else was a mushroom-atarian. Right? That would feel very constricting, right? You might want to be around other mushroom-atarians so you could feel like a normal person too. And so in the olden days, you'd have to leave your little area to go off to wherever the hell the mushroom-tarians are. New York City or LA or something like that. The interesting thing is, like with Meetup and internet, and so with Zoom, you can be wherever you are in the world and then have an event and see other mushroom-atarians so that you know that you're part of a larger group. Not a very large group, but a larger group, right? It makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. I think that's kind of one of the interesting things when you look at not just the internet, but all of the logistics systems that have improved over the years. Again, internet, FedEx, the Netflix and the streaming videos and all of that kind of stuff has really changed what it means to live in a smaller town. Hasn't changed the need for a large airport, or better airport. I miss a good airport. I really miss a good airport. I'm just gonna warn you, if you're thinking about going off the beaten path, make sure you find some place with a decent airport. Asheville's airport is so bad at this point. My wife literally many times will take an Uber all the way to Charlotte to catch a flight, just because the hop from Asheville Airport to Charlotte gets canceled so often that she just finds that to be an easier way of doing things. But anywho, so I find this interesting. With Amazon bringing faster delivery to thousands of small towns and cities is basically the idea that more people in small towns and cities are going to be able to get access to everything that Amazon has to offer. Now, if you're in a large city and you buy way too much crap from Amazon, I'm sure you might be bitching and complaining right now. Oh, this is horrible. This is god awful. Amazon is just trying to take over the world, says somebody watching on a computer that you bought from Amazon. I think about that back in the day. My mother and my stepmother, actually, one thing they agreed on is they both hated Walmart. Whenever I saw them, they would always come up with a reason to bitch about Walmart. And it was really weird because I didn't really have any opinions about Walmart. You know why I didn't have any opinions about Walmart? Because I didn't shop at Walmart back in the day. I thought Walmart was a crappy retail experience that helped to destroy small towns in Main Street America. Ergo, I did not shop at Walmart. So therefore, I didn't really have a lot to say. Walmart is a shitty company that I don't do business with. Done. There's not much more to say. It was amazing. Both my stepmother and my mother, whenever I'd see them, they would find a reason to complain about Walmart. And the curious thing is because they went there at least once a week. I'm like, well, if Walmart's so bad, why don't you stop shopping there? Do you know how evil Walmart is? Like, I don't know, because I haven't been there in like 3 years. I literally have not been there in 3 years. If it's so evil, stop shopping there. But anyways, you get a lot of people out there that really hate Amazon as they click the buy now button and buy something. But I think this is kind of interesting to be thinking about. Is if people in more rural, small town type areas start being able to get access to everything that Amazon has to offer, I wonder what that will change for the experience of living in these rural areas, right? Think about this like with things like internet. The spread of internet was pretty slow in the United States because we don't have a good national internet policy. So even if you wanted to go back to small town America, even if you want to go back to a rural area, if they did not have internet connection, or it was like dial-up or DSL, you literally might not have been able to go there, right? You may want to go back to be near family and all of that kind of stuff, but you might not have been able to get there. The interesting thing now is with internet being everywhere, it makes it more viable for people to move to these more far-off places. The same thing is true is if Amazon starts shipping, making things a lot easier to get to small towns and small cities, you wonder how much more viable that will be for people to want to go back to those particular areas. Hey, you can go back to those areas, you can watch your Netflix, you can do your meetups with your international people, plus you can get your gluten-free, free-range mushroom food, right? Delivered to you the same day or the next day. Anyways, take a look at this from CNBC. Amazon is expanding its rapid delivery machine to more rural corners of the U.S. The company said Tuesday it plans to bring same or next day delivery to more than 4,000 smaller cities, towns, and rural communities across the country, quote, for the first time by the end of this year. The move is part of a previously announced small town expansion that will see Amazon spend roughly $4 billion by the end of 2026 to triple the size of its rural delivery network. Quote, this expansion goes beyond speed. It's about transforming daily life for rural customers who typically live further from brick and mortar retailers, have fewer product and brand choices, and face limited delivery options when shopping online, Amazon said in a release. So that's basically the long and short of it. More towns, 4,000 more towns, cities, rural areas is going to be getting same day or next day delivery. What will that do for the retail environment for some of these places is probably destroy it. I think about this. I went up to Saranac Lake. So I go up to Adirondacks every year or so. And there's a town up there called Saranac Lake. And there was at least a really nice little bookstore, a teeny bookstore. A quarter the size of a Walden Books. Anyways, but it existed. It's the bookstore in Saranac Lake. And the interesting thing is you go in there and basically it says, please don't have your camera out. And I thought that was weird, right? I go to a lot of art galleries. I collect art. So when they tell you not to have your camera out in art galleries, whatever, you kind of understand it, right? They don't want you to just snap a picture. Why buy a $5,000 painting? When you can just snap a picture and go home? I get that. But it was kind of weird at a bookstore. Years ago. And so I go and I talk to the woman. I'm like, hey, why is there that sign there? And she said, well, the problem is people come in and they take pictures. They come here to look through the books. They then take a picture of the books they want to buy. And then they go home and they order it on Amazon. And so the issue is she has this store that she pays rent on. She has these books that people are looking at that she has to purchase up front. And then her ass has to sit there all day to actually have the store open. So people are going in and they're consuming these resources, right, for their benefit. But then when it goes to actually putting any money on the table, they go give that to Amazon. And the interesting thing with that is that then destroys the retail environment for small towns like Saranac Lake. It's interesting, like with Saranac Lake, that there are these stores, these storefronts. I'm just you show me a storefront, I just start salivating. I'm like a storefront aficionado. You know some Aspies like trains, and some Aspies like planes. I like storefronts. Storefront with a for rent sign, like like wherever I'm at, I'm like, maybe I could do something with that. And my wife's like, stop. I'm like, okay, fine. Anyways, you go there, and they have lots and lots and lots of storefronts that are open, that are available, and they've been available for years. And that's the thing, is that in that area, it's become less and less viable for entrepreneurs to be able to continue their businesses. And so what'll be curious with this, as Amazon goes in these new areas, again, that's that whole good or bad thing, as Amazon goes into these areas, this will allow the residents in those areas to be able to have access to goods and basically services that they were not able to have access to before. But it also means for a lot of other normal stuff that they'll start using Amazon instead of going to their local retailers, which means their local retailers will just go out of business, because that's how business works, profit loss statements. And then that means the town, right, the cute town that you want to live in, then kind of falls in on itself, right? So you move back to Main Street America so that you can have Main Street America, but then you buy from Amazon, which means that Main Street America goes bankrupt. I'd be curious to see how all that works out at the end of the day and what everything looks like. I don't know. Will it be good? Will it be bad? Some of the coolest places I've ever been to were back before real estate got insane. So back in the 90s, real estate was not insane. And there's two places, Augusta, Georgia, and Modesto, California. And so when I went to AIT, it was by Augusta, Georgia, and there was this place called Orwell's. There was this cafe called Orwell's. And you go into the cafe, and basically you could order coffee and like a peanut butter sandwich. And it was only open like Friday night through Sunday. Anyways, you go in there, there's all these books everywhere. It was a great place. It was just a great place to like hang out. But you get like coffee and a peanut butter sandwich. Anyways, so I found the owners, and I talked to the owners. Because you notice, that's what I do. Anyways, I talked to the owners. I was like, yeah, so this is interesting. So how do you stay in business? Only being open like 2.5 days a week and only selling like coffee and peanut butter sandwiches. And they said, oh, well, actually, see what it is they had moved from a different area, from like a large town, a large city. And when they went to Augusta, Georgia at that point was incredibly depressed, right? There were no storefronts were open. And so they were able to like rent this little cafe thing for like $100 a month, like literally, because what the hell else, right? So they were able to rent this thing for like $100 a month. So they went in and they got it up to the base public health department standards, and they sold their coffee and they sold their peanut butter jelly sandwiches, and they could have a cafe. The guy was like, I really wanted to be able to go out and hang out at a cafe, and there were none in Augusta, Georgia, and so this came up for $100 a month, and I was like, you know what? I'll pay $100 a month so I can have a cafe to go to. And that created Orwell's. And I still think about Orwell. Orwell's is from when I was 19 years old. 30 years ago. Fuck. Oh, I'm getting to the point like I was an adult 3 decades ago. What happened? Anyways, there was another place called the Gauntlet in Modesto, California. And Modesto, California was much the same way. It was very not doing well at the time. And so the Gauntlet was like this role-playing game store. And so they had role-playing games and Warhammer and that type of thing. But anyway, so you go into the Gauntlet, and it was, I don't know, maybe like 1,000 square foot store. It was like a decent sized store, but not huge. And you go in and they have all the normal stuff. And they said, oh yeah, and if you want to play role-playing games, you go through that door, and then they have the role-play game area. I was like, huh. And you open this door, and it's a fucking warehouse. Just like, this goes on forever. Like 2,000 square feet. Something ridiculous, right? They had fold-out chairs and fold-out tables, the whole 9 yards. I was like, holy hell. So I go back like, you guys must be doing good. I was like, fuck, how much role-playing game stuff do you guys sell? And they said, oh no, that's not why we have all that space. They said, yeah, no, we came here to take a look at the spot, and we told the landlord that we wanted this little retail area, and then they just gave us all the rest of that along with it because they didn't have anything else to do with all the rest of it, and nobody else wanted to rent it. So basically, they rented this nice little retail space and then got like an extra 3,000 square feet of just extra area that they used. So that can be one of the valuable things, when you're small, when your downtown implodes, is that the price of real estate should tank. Should, in a normal world, in a normal economy, it should tank. And then you can do interesting things with that incredibly inexpensive real estate. So who knows? Maybe this will be a boom to a bust to a boom cycle, right? The retail locations stop selling books, and I don't know, they start hosting Pokemon tournaments or something. I guess that's what the kids do nowadays. So anyways, this is just kind of a curious thing to be thinking about. And think about the world of the whole world of logistics and how can you sell to people, right? Using Amazon to sell your products to people all around the country. This has got to open up many more people that you can try to sell your products to. The ability for things like contractors to be able to get your hands on tools and parts so that you can provide services to people. With this kind of thing, there's good points and there's bad points to it. It's a whole thing, right? Even during the Depression, people made millions of dollars. There were millionaires that were created during the Depression. Truth, right? There's no good or bad economy. There's just where you're at in the economy. So if you see a change like this coming along, where do you want to place yourself? You can't fight the macro force. You can't fight Amazon. So, if you know Amazon is coming, where do you situate yourself in order to be able to profit off of it coming? Something to ponder, something to think about. Put your interaction down below. Thumb up, thumb down. Call me amazing, call me an idiot. It doesn't matter. It's the modern world of social media. All that matters is that you interact somehow. Anywho, with that, see y'all later.